Okay, so we are live streaming. Looks like to a few places here. This is me, and if there's others that are from the group that they might come, they might not. Who knows? It's an open invitation. Um, it might have been last minute for a few people too. So we're just gonna chat about design, about the mentorship, about what you have to offer, I have to offer, and yeah, we'll just play in the energy.
Sounds great.
Awesome. So can I ask you this question? How long have you been in design? How long have you been playing with it?
Almost 3 years.
Okay. And I don't know if I know this. How did it find you?
How did it find me? Through it was through not a student, an in aura client of Shatan Parkins.
Oh, okay.
So um, she recommended human design just out of the blue to me. Like she almost pulled it out of thin air. Like our conversation was, you know, not heading there at all. But she told me, have you heard of human design? You've got to check it out. And she pointed me towards Shatan Parkin. So he was the first, human design teacher I bumped into, who was on my
Hmm.
fractal, I guess.
Yeah.
And, from there, I think I I went on this rampage almost of getting my chart from every single human design teacher I could find and
Mm.
taking in as much as I could find. It was crazy. I can tell you that within the first month of me being initiated into human design, I have the 2551. So that's how what I think of it as. In the first month, I was in the gray material. So that's
Mm.
pretty fast. Um, and you can argue whether it is correct for a person that early in their experiment to be in the fairy tales, I think Ra called them. But I couldn't stop myself. I just
Mm.
very deep, very fast. And of course, at that point, you're not, did I really understand what deconditioning was? Not really. I mean, it takes a while for it to sink in just intellectually. Um, but no, yeah, went very deep, very fast. And if you can believe it, I went a very long time without talking to anyone in human design. So here I was watching all these videos, reading all these books, um, consuming, just taking in all of this knowledge, but I never emailed anyone. I don't think I didn't even comment. Just I'm serious when I say there was nothing. I didn't interact with anyone. It was just my own experiment, my own private experiment, and taking in these different voices um, in a at least physically it was a one-way street.
Mm.
um, yeah, it took me a very long time before I actually reached out to anyone. But that happened when the time was correct, and
Right.
my environment is narrow valley, so that's very important to me.
Right.
Was is to find those correct spaces where there's the correct kind of interaction, where it's curated, um, all driven by my response.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Very interesting. I think your story isn't rare. Let's say I think a lot of people bump in and they dive into the rabbit hole. I did that too, right?
yeah.
It was like, how do I get all of this information? And then it was to sift and sort and allow for the cells to decondition so
Yeah.
that this information could come in. So I remember listening to rave cosmology like
Yeah.
10, 12 years ago. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? But now I listen to rave cosmology and I'm like, oh, there it is, there it is, there it is, right? All the information is like falling into place.
Yeah.
So it is, it's, do you find that same thing even after a few years of being in it, that what you learned in the very beginning, now you're actually absorbing it in a whole new way? Would you say that?
Absolutely. Yeah, because it happens on different levels. And yeah, it's a process. And you shed one layer, well, there's a layer underneath, and still process. You're clearer. There's Tim.
Hey,
Hi.
Tam.
Hi guys.
One of the
We're we're
mentors.
just yeah, we're just chatting about like how human design found us and playing with that little story for the audience.
Yeah. I'll add that, yeah, just leaning into that sacral response. Um, I'm at a point where I am navigating by sacral response, and I know I'm in my experiment because I'm more satisfied than I've been in a few years.
Mm.
I am taking, of course, the correct action, but they're actions that my mind never would have come up with, never.
Yeah.
And just as I navigate, I'm finding that I am beginning to loop back around. Um, um, just what is the phrase, like not close the circle, but um, I am seeing I'm finding myself connected to people and places that were actually on my radar, on my path, like years before I came into human design. Um, so it's really uh, it's unbelievable. I have to step back and ask myself, "Wow." Um, I just who knew that going down this spiritual path, the human design path, would basically reconnect me to um, I was my background is in natural languages and programming languages.
Mm.
I'm finding myself coming back to that, introduced to people who um, like are connected to that space. Um, it's just, look, I could rant on and on about it, but the point is that your mind can't it can't make these decisions. You just we talk about Neville Goddard a lot in the group. You hold that vision or that state, and you're just you're led to it through the bridge of events. And where human design comes in is you're navigating using your unique imprinting, your unique energetics. Um, you do get what you want. I'm using those words very very loosely here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
it, it just happens in such a beautifully mechanical way. Because I think the fear that a lot of people have just coming into this material is like, oh my God, I'm a generator. I respond. I can't initiate. Does that mean I can't get what I want? Does that mean I can't
Right.
manifest my dreams?
Right.
It's not. It's really not. Um, these it's we're given the user's manual or the cheat code or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yep. And what I love now, how you're talking about that, like Tim and I are manifesting generators. So our throats are defined and yours is undefined. And here's what I love is that you're talking about language. And over the years, it's been so interesting to me to watch how um, I've had numerous clients who have undefined throats and they are language specialists. I'm like, that's so fascinating to see that the mechanics, like, they just work. They're just doing what they're doing. And even before you bump into human design, they are working. They are navigating for you. They're doing the thing. Of course, it's just our conditioned mind that thinks that it's not doing the thing. That's how I see it.
Yeah. I mean, you have, I know no choice is a bit controversial in human design lands. My understanding of no choice is, and this may not be Ra's interpretation of, or this may not be what Ra meant by no choice. But for me, no choice is no choice but to live out your mechanics, whether that's in a higher expression or a lower expression.
That's what I think too. Tim, what are your thoughts there? I totally think that.
I think it's inescapable that we do have to live out our mechanics, and this is the beauty of the system: is the deeper we go, there's just more to learn. It just never ends. It's just so much depth there, and you recognize again, it's like that reflection of the past of your life. You see the patterns, and so yeah, you can't escape it. No.
Mm-mm. I would almost say it's like you have no choice of like the physical body that you got, right? Like that's like it's a material thing, right? Like I didn't like I'm not 6'5". I can't go play in the NBA. I use that example all the time. Like I have no choice but to be 5'1" and be in this physical body, right? So I look at it like that, and I'm like, the mechanics are just operating. And oftentimes, I know this was an experience for me, is when I saw my design on the screen and I was, you read it and you're like, oh, that's totally how I make decisions. Oh, yeah, people have always seen these strengths in me. I've always been, you know, uh, moved into management with the 2145. Even as a little kid, I was managing stuff, right? Because that's just what was taking place. So it's interesting to just go, oh yeah, there it is. It's not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's cool about today is the gate 29, I think, is very represented.
Very much.
I was going to mention about the 29. It is this constant journey of depth, trying to attain spiritual enlightenment, and it just goes deeper and deeper. So yeah, 29, we're all here with that. So yeah.
So now and Tim both have the full channel of discovery, and mine is only the 29. Yeah. I experience it, I think, a little differently than you two experience it with the full channel. I would love to hear you guys talk about the channel of discovery. What have you learned about it that you could share with the group, with the audience?
Tim, do you want to go first?
I was hoping it was going to be ladies first because I was contemplating then. I was in the depths. What have I learned? That I'm known for this journey that I'm on, and it's the most important thing to me. Nothing else matters. I mean, don't get me wrong, things matter, in the day-to-day living, but ultimately, I mean, we look at the city of the 29, which is devotion, and I have been devoted to this intangible energy that drives every aspect of my life, that it's just never ending. And the more, I've said it many a times within the mentorship, and it's a bit of an analogy now, but the more I fall back in the depths of the 29, the more the 46 launches me upwards, and I have magical experiences that are just defy logic. They defy explanation, because in order to explain what I'm experiencing, then I'd have to spend 30 years to give every nuance of that journey in every experience. So I just surrender. And it can be difficult. I mean, the 29 within the Chinese I Ching is known as danger. If it appears, it's a portent of danger, but it's about, because it's water over water. And so you can drown in the depths of the abyss. But ultimately, if you commit, then eventually you do reach the other end of the shore, which is thankfully what we've got now, is that 46 is guiding us to the shore. But every time I think I've reached the apex, then no, it's just another layer. And you think, okay, here we go again. But it's beautiful. And I wouldn't, as difficult as it's been on occasion, the beauty of it far outweighs the difficulty. And I feel quite privileged to have that 29 as my conscious sun. You know, I don't think I'd want to pick any other, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Love it. Now, do you want to share your experience of the 2946?
Yeah, there's always more. And that's also a keynote I associate with the 48 as well. So I think for me, it's feeling out, okay, what is the sacral commitment of the 29 and the awareness in the 48. You know, for me, and as I gain a deeper and deeper embodiment of these energetics, I'm leaning more into which the planets as well. And I've got, so my 29, and I've got 29 gate 6 is in Mars. So in retrospect, I can definitely see that always wanting to commit that immature energy, that active, always is trigger happy, and yet it's the sixth line. And for Tim, it's your personality sun, 29 6. So yeah, I'm learning to be wise about where to shoot that energy off, and that is, it brings me deeper into that sacral experiment as well. And the 46, that's my design earth. So quite a prominent placement, and it's in my incarnation cross as well, of course. And that love of the body, and actually out of the gates in my incarnation cross, I think that's the one that I don't want to say it feels the least natural to me, but I feel like I have most to learn there than I do in the other gates of love. And yeah, so that's my journey. And it's interesting because I'm starting to correlate this imprinting with certain conditions that I've had, just physical situations. And was it a matter of aligning, in the sense of, am I getting myself into the correct messes here, or am I just saying yes, 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 yes because I can? The sacral energy is there, and yeah, that's where that channel gets itself in trouble, right? I'm sure Tim would agree. A lot of trouble, because once you commit, there's that energy to see it through. But if it's not correct, it's painful. And so, again, like the mechanics, can be in a higher expression, can be in a lower expression.
Yep. It's fun to, so Tim and now have the 29.6 and I have the 29.1. So you're looking at like both extremes of the hexagram of, foundational, to you guys looking out at that 59 and going, okay, how can we take this commitment and lean it into, you know, an intimate union with other people. That's really what your 29.6 is moving towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
I speak on the yes response though? Because no matter, I understand this tantric energy. I understand how it is guiding me in life, and I can totally recognize that it's taking my body to do this, to do this. But the yes response, no matter how conscious I am of that, I still find myself, even though I'm aware of my response as a generator, I still find myself saying yes to things. And what are you doing? So when Ra alludes to the yes, 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 give me all your money, let me take my job, let me push you off that cliff, yes, yes, I totally get it. I really do get it. So it's I'm trying to turn it into a gate that's saying no, but I have to take into consideration a lot of other aspects of my design and the mechanics of I am here to say yes because I'm here, I'm a left angle, so I'm here to born in the quarter of duality, so I'm here to say yes to others, to you know. But yeah, that yes has got me in so much trouble over the years.
And
And this is
oh,
fun. Sorry now. I was just going to say Erna joined us, and here we are. Erna also has the 2946. So we have 3 full channels of discovery here, and then I have the 29. So I guess this is the conversation we're having today is around the 2946 and that whole discovery piece. So go ahead now, you chat, and then I'm going to ask Erna how she experiences that channel.
sure. I mean, right place, right time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When it is correct, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, just all these different expressions of that frequency. You know, sure, it is failing where others succeed, but you also succeed where others fail.
Yes.
And it's just, yeah, it, it's really an amazing energy.
Mm-hmm. Erna, do you have anything that you want to share about the 2946 channel of discovery? And Erna also has um, the 29.6. So we got 3 29.6s here and one 29.1. So it's fun to watch how you guys are leaning into the, you know, next hexagram. I love it.
Yeah, 29 is my unconscious earth. So, and in the Gene Keys is my purpose. And like Tim said, devotion. It's it's this kind of energy that you just can't put down. It's just there, and it's ecstatic, and that's also what I experience in this channel. And with the 46, the love of the body, the rainmaker, being at the right place at the right time, and so there's so many things that are happening there. And I have the 46 a number of times in my human design chart, so it is also something that is really appealing to me to be there. And um, it's an amazing thing to experience this devotion. And the 30th gate is my, of course, my design sun. And that's for me. I'm more in not more into the jinkies, but jinkies is my expertise, so to say. So in the Jinky 30, the city is rapture, so it's devotion and rapture and ecstatic. So and yeah, my I'm devoted about the Jinkies and human design and everything that makes life so very very interesting to live. So yeah.
Love it. And then when I take a look at this through the lens of like the penta, right? That 46 and that 29 is so important to have as the glue, right? It's holding everything together. Like, can you make a commitment to the group? Can you be devoted? Can you lean into this commitment? So it's very interesting to see how like the 4 of us came in here with that frequency and that energetic. And I would also say and encourage anybody that's listening here is to recognize something deeply about the 29 is that decisions in human design, we're taught that as a core tool, but making a decision starts everything. I think it starts the whole cycle moving forward. Right? Would you guys agree to that?
Yeah,
Hi, Rachel. Thank you for popping in.
I've experienced that a number of times this year and last year. Making a real clear decision changes everything, and it's just the shift that happens there, because it's also in the gene keys. It's 29 is half-heartedness. So if you make
Yes.
a half-hearted decision or a half-hearted commitment, there's not so much happening. So
Mm,
clear commitment and the clear decision is really important.
yep. Yep. Super important, I think, or else we'll be on the fence. Go ahead, Tim. I keep cutting you off.
No, it's fine. I keep jumping in. If we speak about the cities of the 29 and the 30, which is devotion and rapture, but then you also bring in the city of the 46, that's ecstasy. And I can, with that rapturous, that sacral tantric energy, I can attest to that in my nightly pursuits over the years. It is exactly what those cities speak of. It's glorious. It's indescribable sometimes, but yeah, right place, right time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful. Serendipity, right? Serendipity.
And that's a huge part of manifestation as well. I don't know if we want to take the conversation in that
Sure.
direction,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, serendipity, exactly. This joy and wonder and rhapsody of finding yourself meeting the right person, or in the correct situation, or the correct offer is just, it falls into your lap, and it's it's magical. Like, the mechanics of it don't make it any less magical.
Mm-mm. Exactly. Yeah. And then when I look at that G center, right? It's with that monopole and that orientation that takes place in the monopole. You could explore those 8 gates, I think, in the G center. I think you could take a whole lifetime and just explore them. And I don't think we would ever get to the truest sense of magic that's there. I think that there's always going to be a little bit of elusiveness just because we're in this human experience. And one of the things Ra would always say is that, like, we'll never ever experience the love that's really truly available in every other realm that's out there, but we can get really close when we are oriented correctly and we're allowing these mechanics to just navigate and be here.
Right. And
Yeah.
what is that love? Like, what is that force?
Right.
It's this is the gate 15 in me talking, but that magnetic energy, what pulls everything together, um, what drives it, maybe. um, I mean, that part, just contemplating the monopole, and the G center, like, what is that force that drives us? Um, like, to me, it's, I can feel it, but I don't necessarily have the words for it. And that is my incarnation cross. It is the vessel of love, and yeah, one of the hugest the epiphanies, I guess, was that love is direction. Like, just thanks to human
Yeah.
design, it makes
Mhm.
perfect sense. Love is direction. It's what holds us together. In the illusion of our separateness, as Ra would put it, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
And how I see it, I think the drive is the separateness. Because I think that, whether Ra liked God or didn't like God or whatever you want to call it, I appreciate God. I feel as though she, it, the force field, whatever you want to call it, doesn't is not into conformity. Doesn't want everything to be in conformity. He wants that separateness and that uniqueness to create an expansion and let each one of us have an experience that is unique to us. That's the beauty of it. That's, that's love and direction, I think. Erna, I know that you love the word love and you use it a lot and talk about it a lot. Is there anything that you want to share? Rachel, I know you're in the background. I don't know if you can talk or not, but Erna, go ahead, talk about love.
Yeah, it's written all over me and in my profile, in my Gene Keys and my human design. And I love this quote from Richard Rudd from the 35th Gene Key from the Gift of Adventure. It says, love has nothing to do with another separate person, but it is the connective tissue underlying all creation. And I get goosebumps when I say that, and that feels so true to me. So I think that is the driving force. And you can call it what you want: energy, love, consciousness. There is this invisible force that is breathing us, that is making the wind blow, that is making our heart go when we sleep. There has to be something that is bigger than all of us, that is just orchestrating this whole theater here. So yeah, and I love to get into really paradoxes about that, but I love it. It's just so it's you cannot understand it, and still you can feel that there is something that is just holding us together and holding everything together, I guess.
Well,
Yeah.
paradox is what points you back to unity.
Yeah, and it's full of paradoxes. And that's what the mind cannot comprehend. So that's the beauty of it, and that's where contemplation comes in, because the mind doesn't understand this, and it's like, and when you contemplate this deeply, it's like the insight and it's so wonderful to get a deeper understanding from a place of not needing to know, letting it come out of the emptiness, I guess.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, creation happens in the void.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's another, just what is the yin in human design? That's maybe another topic for another day. But yeah. Thank you, Erna. You always have the words, the exuberance.
The aesthetics. Yeah.
We have very similar designs, actually. I know you are emotional, but you have almost all of the gates from the sacral to the G.
Yeah. I only missed the 2.
Yeah, and I do have all of those channels, actually. But it's so funny. We have very similar charts, but because you have the solar plexus defined, totally different feel, right? This differentiation, 2, 4, 6 generators, and the solar plexus just adds another dimension to it.
Yeah, and even if it's so interesting, because even if I am one of a twin, so my twin sister has the same profile as me. When you go like 5 numbers behind the dot, it's maybe different, but even if we do have the same makeup, genetic, at least human design and gene keys, there's this whole new way, this whole different way of looking at the world. She doesn't do anything with human design or gene keys or whatever, but if she did, there would be 2 different experiences from the same kind of design. So that's what I love about it, that even though you have the same design, the experience is so personal and so different, even from when you have the same upbringing and all of that. But and that's what I love about it, that you just filter it through your own lens and through your own thinking and everything.
And it would be fun, Erna, if you feel called to, if it's correct for you, you can lean into the base orientation
Hmm.
of the personality moon, and that's all in the self study that you purchased. And
Hmm.
you can look at that and just see the differences in the base color and tone. And I love working with twins that way because you can just recognize that different nuanced orientation that they're designed to have. It's really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, and we are totally different. We are also not a. We are how do you call that? From 2x.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep, yep,
So
yep.
we're not. We don't have. We're not identical twins, but
Right, yep.
so we are different already, and yeah. So it's really interesting um, to look at it that way. So yeah, love
Love
it.
it. Awesome. Hey Rachel, we're doing a lot of conversation today around the 2946. Seems to be the topic that came up, and we're sticking with that. Paternal twins. Thank you very much, Christine. Anything you want to share about the 2946 and experiencing now Tim and Erna have that whole channel. I have the 29. Is there anything that you would say as a mental projector? What have you recognized or noticed around that aspect of the human design body graph and working with us inside that mentorship?
Well, I have the 46 hanging. It's my
Yep.
only thing in the G center. So, yeah, I've always been kind of fascinated by that channel. Um, I feel like I feel like all those channels are really fascinating that link the G center and the sacral, the tantric channels. But that one, the channel of discovery, that's what I always think about it, discovery. And like really what is that like? Um, the 29, I haven't thought that much about, honestly, to be quite honest with you.
How do you
That part,
experience with the four of us having it? How do you experience that gate of saying yes, that commitment?
well, I definitely see you guys having an easier time with saying yes. Like, like you're good examples of how like that be like I'm surprised by it. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of commitment here. So it's um but I know because we've had the mentorship as a space for a long time, I've seen like, and I've been able to witness like some of the more well-rounded parts of what it's like to have that. I've heard a lot of sharing about that, which is I know it's not always like easy or whatever. I'm jealous of it sometimes, as far as like, I think that's true of any of the things that you have hanging like that. It's like you kind of like are lusting after them. But yeah, it's I feel like that channel of art is one of the channels that's more like, oh, people are like, it's got more of a positive PR than like,
Mm,
let's say 1852 or something like that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I like it. It's got a good attitude. It's a good attitude channel, I feel like. And it's like I feel like it's very lucky. That's the other thing I feel about it. You know?
Yeah.
So how about you, Leanne, just having the 29? What's your impression of the 46s versus the full channels? Because I was thinking about that too. Before you asked me, I was like, well, everybody here has either a part or a whole. And I always am curious about that, the experience of what it's like to have the whole when you interact with a person versus just having the partial.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So it's interesting because my husband has a 46. So this has kind
Right.
of been an electromagnetic for 32 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's interesting to watch how the minute I'm committed, his determination can really kick in. And the minute his determination is available to me, I can make the commitment. And it's like this, and then we just move and we navigate and we discover whatever we need to discover. Lots of times it's a lot of third line stuff because we both have a lot of third line in our charts. But that's okay. That's how we're built. The one thing that I do recognize though is the power of saying no. In that dichotomy of that gate of saying yes, the power of saying no actually provides a lot more discovery for me than just saying yes. Would you guys agree to that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's an important point as well. It's not always about saying yes and adding on. It's also about saying no and whittling down or paring down so that there is room for the correct the correct situations to come in.
Yep. Yep. And the difference between the sacral, like how we were talking yesterday in the mentorship group, and we were kind of like we were discussing healthy emotional energy and unhealthy emotional energy, and like that sacral just says no, no, I'm not interacting with whatever it doesn't need to interact with, whatever it doesn't need to learn from. It just says absolutely no. But if there's still some learning there, something to discover, it's all in like a dirty shirt. And of course, it's first line, so it wants to get to that very, very foundational information. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Thanks for asking that.
yeah, I just
Go
wanted
ahead.
to add that it sometimes it is correct for you to share that energy. It's an energy that many people could use. I mean, everything in the body graph, applies to everything in the body graph. It's part of the human experience. But that commitment, um,
Mm-hmm.
that, and I'm just talking about the overall energetics of that whole channel. It's important. It's tantric. It's part of the penta. It's part of the material way.
Yeah.
Um, but is it correct for you to lend that energy?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Many of us have been conditioned into just giving that commitment away to
Mm-hmm.
people, situations. It's just not satisfying, or whatever your signature is. Yeah, it's not. It's yes, it is selfish, but selfish in a way, just the mechanically correct kind of selfish. I mean, that's another topic we could get into, is just what are others entitled to? What is actually correct for us to contribute energetically?
Yeah. Yeah. So Rachel, again, I'm gonna circle back as the 46. Um, what are some things you notice about those who commit and those who are doing things half-heartedly? Anything that you notice that you could share or half-assed?
Yeah. So I was just reading about this channel just to refresh. I always love to reread, always the basics. And it says, a design of succeeding where others fail. It's also failing where others succeed. Everything is the polarity or whatever. But I was thinking about that and I was like, okay, so those are the ingredients that are required for success where it's difficult, right? So determination. And then when you were speaking, I was like, oh yeah, 46 is determination of the self.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, and I was like word nerd tripping about determination, like what that means, like, and it's like it's in the G center, which is about direction and love, right? I
Hmm.
heard you guys talking already about this. And so it's like the 46 determines, it's like decides in a directional capacity what the self is going to commit to, right? So it's the determination of the self. It's like, what are you going to dedicate your life, time, energy, body, self, what are you going to do? It's basically like, what are you going to do? And it's like, and I guess, it is correct for some people with innocence motivation to be like, I don't know, I don't want to do it. But like, but there is also like a real like powerful payoff when you say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Like you have that 29 to come in, and like the commitment is like, okay, so I think about like, I know this is a bad example. It's loaded with all kinds of whatever shadow material, but like let's say like I was an explorer, like back in the day of like, you know, the age of discovery. That's what triggered that for me. Like, you know, when all the colonizers were zipping all around the world discovering new places, and like the determination that it took. Like the thought of going out on the ocean for me is like the thought of going into space. Never going to do it. Never going to do it unless I'm forced. It's that or the death of like everything flooding or the earth being no longer habitable. It's the only thing that'll force me out into the ocean. And then if you think about like,
that's a clear no, you guys. That's a clear no right there.
that's a 29 now.
Yeah.
But what some idiot had to 29 yes. Like a several hundreds of thousands of idiots had to 29 yes. For all kinds of 46 things to happen. And so it's like, I was like, yeah, that's like, oh, that's like so heavy. That's why I don't commit to hardly anything. Because also as a projector, you know, when we get involved with something, it's a lot more. This is a generated channel, luckily. That's why they're able to commit.
Yes.
But
Yes.
that's also a part of it too. It's like there is like it's a commitment to seeing it through to the end. And then there's an end. Luckily, hopefully, like, you know, it says in here, I read, I was like, it can take a lifetime. I'm like, oh shit. But
Yes.
like it can also be like something that is like just like a process that you're committing to, like, you know, publishing a book or, you know, going on an expedition or something like that, you know. So your original question was, what's the difference between what I've noticed about people that commit or not? It's like, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it really makes all the difference. It's like what will process of elimination out 98% of the people is just giving up, you know. It's yeah.
Yep. And here's like, remember the correlation here as well, right? The 46 determination of the self. Remember in the PHS, like it's called determination, right? It's called determination. So it's like, how well is the body? How healthy is the body? So when you're talking about explorers, that's really fun, right? Because as they explored, whether or not his story is correct or not, how that all took place, if they got sick and the wellness of the body wasn't there, there was nothing got discovered because they all perished, right? So be aware of that as well in that 46, that determination has so much to do with the primary health system and connecting to the wellness of that body. Right?
I absolutely thought the same thing too. What was one of my first thoughts when I was like going on the rabbit hole, thinking in my mind about determination. And I'm like, determination is the part of the PHS that determines your physical, your brain body system's basic health. It's like step one. And so, yeah, I'm hot thirst. I like, and since that's the easiest PHS to follow of all, I feel. And so it's like, it was really game changing for me. And having the 46, I will tell you that it's been a struggle throughout my life to really like, because you've said this before, Leanne, that people with 46 can sometimes skate by ignoring their health and you know, doing not loving the body, not showing the body love, like ignoring the body, neglecting the body, abusing the body. And projectors, I think, especially ones with open spleens and sacrals and solar plexus and roots, are prone to things like that too, especially in their third line phase, should they have one. But anyway, I will say that since following my determination, and anytime I even didn't know I was following my determination, but let's say I got really into herbalism and I was doing a lot of hot herbal teas, which fit the bill, like whatever, really, even a small, I always tell people, a small breadcrumb of self-love, you'd be surprised how much you will narcissistically eat it up. Like it's really, it does wonders. Like don't despair. Like you can just turn it around with a small little something. Yeah. So I agree. Like the determination is one of the biggest acts of self-love is correctly nourishing yourself, whatever that means for you. And the fact is, it's a difficult thing for people to figure that out. PHS for me was revolutionary, and I found a lot of people found the same. I know it's highly scandalous sometimes in certain circles, even human design circles. And then think about people that don't even believe in human design in the dietary world. When you talk about that, they're like, what? But I've been involved in food in all kinds of ways and wellness and stuff like that through food for a long time, even way before human design, way before even astrology. And there's definitely something to it, at least approaching it from an individualized, differentiated perspective is correct. You know, is there some tweaks that may need to happen along your experiment? Absolutely. But that's, you should have that attitude no matter what, in my opinion. So yeah.
Yeah. And that's really what discovery is. It's a growth process. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anything else you guys want to share about that channel, or anything else you want to bring up? We're now 50 minutes in, so we'll probably close it up here shortly. Anything you guys want to talk about or share? Let's give it 10 more minutes. That's an hour if you guys still want to stick on for another 10.
No, I mean, just the connection between the 2946 and your determination, your physical vehicle. The link is just so obvious.
Yeah.
And this whole process is embodied. Like you said, it has to get into you at the cellular level. So it's not just a subtle, energetic, let me learn these esoteric principles. You actually have to live it, because we're in a physical world.
Yes. Agreed. Tim or Erna, anything else you guys want to share about?
I do hark back to Ra's wisdom about the 46, that he says that the commitment, the discovery isn't found until the commitment is over with the 46. Otherwise, how can you look back? Because you're still within the commitment. So for me, it is a lifetime process of trying to attain some sort of spiritual enlightenment for me. But I always think back to those words about that. Well, until the commitment's over, you can't discover. You can discover along the way, but the ultimate discovery of where the body's placed you, that always rings for me.
And then if you go up, Tim, up to the 64, and it's like he really indicates in that whole abstract process, like the cycle has to end before you actually know it. But so many people get caught up in the confusion of, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Well, you won't know why it's happening until the cycle has come to a close.
Yeah.
And then you can realize what that whole discovery truly was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the abstract.
Yeah. I can recognize that in, the smaller commitments that I enter into with the 29. I can always come to a conclusion with, okay, that I've learned the lesson here. But I think ultimately, I mean, my 29 is my conscious sun, and my 46 is both of my Plutos. So I've got 29/6 and 46/6 on my mind, personality side. So I just see that my whole journey is encapsulated within that whole channel. So all the planetary activations are contained within that channel of discovery. And that makes so much sense. That's how I anticipate life going, because this is never going to end, because the more realms I can encounter on that journey, well, it's infinite for me. So it's going to be the point of death will be the end of the commitment. Then I'll get back up there and it'll be like, what did you learn in that? So, yeah.
That's why you got to start writing these books, Tim, so that you can get all this information out.
Yeah, tell me. Yeah, my mind's awash with experiences within the commitment that I wish to share. So yeah, good point. Thank you.
Tim, can I just ask about your experience of your cross? Because you are a left angle.
Yeah. Well, I am left angle, so I've got the 29 and the 30, with the 20 and the 34. 34 is the brain body. So my body literally moves me with that channel of charisma where the commitment lies. And yeah, it's I've got no choice but to surrender. And if I fight it, then it becomes overwhelming for me, because thought, what is the word, where thoughts must become deeds. I so recognise that. I was only contemplating that last night. I had a thought. It was 1:30 a.m. This thought came in, and most people would just be chilling or, lying on the settee. But no, 2 hours investigation of where can this take me, and I was so excited. And it was in regard to developing an app, of all things. So I was 2 hours researching developing apps. Like, just because the thought came there, the body went like it growled. And yeah, so fascinating.
Well, now and you should be talking about this, because she's also discovering some app information as well. Go ahead, Erna.
Yeah, and isn't it interesting that there's always something to discover? And I really recognize what you say, Tim. For me, it's also like when I find something, when I discover something, it's just my whole body moves in it. And I also dive deep into it, and I buy books from it, and I watch videos, and sometimes it takes me somewhere, and sometimes like, oh, why did I go there anyway? And back to where I was. But I just love to discover new things, and and every time I discover something, and it's like, this is it. This is so beautiful. This is wonderful, and it is in a way, but it's always also something that is just moving by again, and that's what I love about human design and the Gene Keys. It found me, and at first it was like, It was so interesting, because at first it was not like full on into it, not full into this to the discovery, but it went so kind of, yeah. And I'm still with it, like 5.5 years in. It's how do and that's what makes me see that this is so true for me. I can feel this so deep in my body, in my cells, in my DNA. It's And that's what I also love about this whole thing. It's this whole package of like astrology and the I Ching and quantum physics and all those kind of weird stuff like DNA and light, and that's what I love most about this system, that it goes so deep into all of those things. But it is also that it is not a system that I need to learn consciously in a way, but it's a system that helps me remember what is already inside of me. And that's what I miss by most other things that I learned. And I learned a lot. I discovered a whole lot of things. I have certifications of no, you name it, I have it. But it was always like, oh, it's fun, and then 2-3 weeks in, a month, and then it was gone. But this is bringing out what is already inside, and that's why I think I stick with it. And I'm so devoted to this Gene Keys. And sometimes I read stuff, and I'm like, I can get emotional about the deep feeling, what it stirs me inside. And it's sometimes I just don't have words for what happens when I remember. And it's not that I remember here, but I remember deep in my cellular structure, in my DNA, in my genes. It's and that's what I love about this whole thing, and that's what keeps me. It's not what keeps me going. It's moving me in a way. I'm moving with it, and life is happening, and I am in life, and it's a beautiful journey.
Yep, love it. And I can appreciate that. Like human design and even Gene Keys, right? It can get very heady, but the moment that you move it out of the head and you recognize that this is a cellular process, this isn't a heady process, it all transfers and it all changes, and the transmission can happen.
Yeah, but that is something that we all go to school. We all
Yeah.
need to learn this and sit still and pay attention. But that keeps us so far away from what is already inside of us. And that's why when we can get out of the head, and there was a process for me too, because I was really a head person, and I still am sometimes, and that's okay because I enjoy it also, the mind and the thinking. But when you get, when this information, especially for the gene keys, because this is not something that you look, this book, like,
Yes.
this
Yeah.
is not something that you take in one sitting. This is something that you read over and over and over again, and then it's an energetic language, and it
Yes.
just drips and sips in and into your cells, and then all of a sudden this,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, so that's almost a full circle, because as now when I first came onto this call, that's we were talking about that, how this is, it's energetic, right? It's
Yeah,
cellular, and then now is talking about how, it's a language, right? So I love
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah,
So
and that's what people don't get in the beginning, and I didn't get it also in the beginning.
yes,
I was like, the first thing that Richard says in the book is like, you have to make the system your own. There's no guru, there's no teacher, and I was like,
yes.
that's not for me. Tell me what to do, what to learn.
Yeah.
That's true. I put it aside, and then I went with human design first, because that was something that I could learn. But
Yes.
over time, it was like, oh my god, and the rest is
Yeah.
history. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
There's always,
Love it.
because sorry, I didn't mean to
Nope.
speak a line there. No, I'm kidding. But I was going to say, there's always more, because um, we're always differentiating. There is no limit to differentiation. Um, it's, the world we live in is just, it's infinitely creative. There's always more
Mhm.
and more
Mhm.
ways to combine and take apart and recombine. That's why there's always more. And we wouldn't have it any other way, right?
Right.
Yeah, and
That's
we are
how
infinitely creative.
yes, yes, yeah. That's how quarks and leptons were found, wasn't it? Because people just kept discovering and looking and discovering and looking and discovering and looking. And I still think they're trying to discover the monopole, right? I know that there's some stuff about it, but there's not a whole bunch of language about it. And I think there's still scientists playing around with discovering the monopole. It's fun.
I mean, I think it's called particle zoo or whatever. The point is that they're discovering so many different particles, and how many do you need? Isn't it? Isn't it? Um, isn't this all one? Where's the unity here? But no, like discovery. We want to discover more. We want the new. Um, we want to experience ourselves as creators.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Rachel or Tim, do you have any last words? And we'll wrap up for the day. I totally appreciate everybody and your time coming on here and playing. These conversations like this happen in the mentorship 8 times a month minimum. I think now is going to start doing some networking events as well. So it's just fun and games in there all the time, new discoveries, new learning, new capacity to embody. And each one of these beautiful entrepreneurs are creating their own spaces for you guys to come and join in. So there is a link below as well for you guys to kind of discover that. And Tim, Rachel, anything you want to say to wrap up?
I'm good. I just have been enjoying the chat from all of you. So yeah, I agree that the mentorship is an amazing space, and lots of discoveries I've made there for sure. Like all the time. Like even when we're not having our live talks on the board, on the private group, we have a very, it's just such a, it's like, it's a great space. I thank you so much, Leanne, for creating it, and for all of you for making it so wonderful. So yeah, appreciate it very much.
And I appreciate all you guys for being in it and sharing your wisdom, because it couldn't be possible without you guys. So love it. Tim, anything you want to share to wrap up?
I will just hark Rachel's sentiments there. Yeah, the mentorship is great. It's a good community. There's so much opportunity to meet people. You see that 46 is putting people in line, you know, for different people I've met. But yeah, it's a wonderful space, and thank you. A lot of gratitude for that space and the people in it, of course. Yeah,
Yes.
and the learning.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so there's a link there for anybody who wants to connect with these mentor coaches and mentor participants and lean in. And yeah, thank you again, Christine, for being here. I love that you always learn something. I love that you're here in the chat. Mercedes, I see you're here. You left a comment. And Marissa, thank you very much. All right, peeps. Tomorrow we have a business class. I have some fun. I have a fun little project, and something I learned about Chiron as well that I'm going to bring up in the. Yeah, I know, Rachel, your face like what? Ooh, yay! That I'm going to bring up in the business class. I'd never heard this before about Chiron, so we're going to have a conversation about it and play with that. All right, thank you, everyone.
All right, I'm going to be curious for the next 24 hours. Thanks, Leanne.
Yeah, I think I am as well with that one.
Love it. All right, guys. Take care. Thank you very much.